is right by now, the official response in the world of entertainment is what? The show must go on. and, so, and that is exactly what we're going to do. But you know, the good news is that uh, tonight from 6 until 9 p.m. at the Pride of Alabama Elks Lodge, the prep rally for the Magic City Classic, ASU A&M Pep Rally. And that's from 6 until 9. The admission is $5. And they say food is going to be available, so you don't have to worry about cooking dinner. You'll be able to socialize with some of the alumni and others from ASU and A&M. I'll tell you what, there are a lot of graduates, alumni in Dallas County and Selma from Alabama A&M and Alabama State University, and of course, Alabama State University right down the road. And so should be a lot of fun. Something, you know, sometimes it's good to take a break from all this old craziness and some of the news that can become so depressing if you get caught up in it in the news cycle. So you know, it's good to take a break away from some of the events of the day. Yesterday, I was able to cover the ceremony, the civic recognition ceremony that was honoring Mayor James Perkins Jr. as the first Black mayor of Selma. And to some of us, that sounds foreign now, you know, and it should be. You know, I'm hoping that we get further and further away from the racial consciousness and the race baiting that takes place. I see a lot of people who are visible. I don't know if I would call them leaders or not, because people using an old playbook and trying to take old strategies and apply them to the day. I thank God that I know the history and that I've met many of the actual strategists who were involved in the 1950s and 60s. And so I know what they say that they were thinking and what their point was. But when I see people in Congress, you know, in 1965, there was only one Black person that was a congressperson. That was Adam Clayton Powell. And so African Americans were protesting from the outside looking in. But now African Americans are part of the lawmaking body. So what are you're protesting against yourself? That's like a dog chasing his tail. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Oh man, Mike Grantham, one of my favorite folk. Man, I've been looking to hear from you. How you doing? Wow. How you doing, man?
Open heart surgery and couple bypasses and unfortunately doing the surgery I have some severe complications as far as going into a heart attack and that kind of stuff. But the surgery turned out good, everything's going well, so I'm above ground and waiting for you. That's hard.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of elected officials and a lot of public officials would not even want to admit to the public that they've had a medical challenge or a medical procedure. We all know that you're in excellent shape, you know, and I'm sure that I'm sure that helped you be able to survive all of that.
Indeed, that plays a big factor. Just in the heat signal, not necessarily start being on your heart, but I mean, you try to keep yourself up in the best shape you can, but police stuff going on for one police drive-throughs and these greedy cheeseburgers, always got hurry rushes and stuff. But we gotta stop that kind of stuff. We gotta learn to take care of ourselves, do what we do. And I thought I was on top of the game. I mean, I took 5 games, I did nothing to shoot like I was supposed to, didn't eat like I was supposed to, I'm a big sweetie here. Well, yeah, it's one thing. My dad passed away, and I looked my brother at it, and it's one thing. I just thank God that, I was at the right place at the right time when it happened, because if I wasn't already there, I would have made it there, is what the doctor was saying. But we did, he's not ready for me yet, so we don't know the chapter for people.
Well, I'm glad that things have worked out for you, and I would assume that I guess your assistant chief, Mayor Hatfield now, huh?
Yes, sir. Chief John Hatfield, that's my chief.
So, man, you're stacked with all kinds of talent. So was he running things while you were kind of out of place? That's good.
We're a good team. We've been a team since we've been working together probably 26, 27 years. We actually started out on night shift patrol together.
Wow.
So we're kind of like left hand and right hand. So we know what everyone expects and stuff. So it's a good team. I mean, the problem I have with the speed, I promise you that. And I'm actually in office today for a little bit. Don't tell my doctor that. Nobody's supposed to be here, but other than that.
You better hope he doesn't listen. Well, we want you to take it easy. We want you to have a full recovery. What about the jail? How's that going?
Not too good. I'll be straight honest with you. I believe the ball's been dropped in jail. In my opinion, we spent millions and millions of dollars on that jail and our very little time. We spent more time arguing with the insurance. And it's nothing to do with our local people. It's our insurance company. And it's just like anything else. You pay all these insurance out. And it's not every insurance group. You pay all this money out for insurance, when it comes time to make a claim, they want to cut you everywhere.
I thought you guys were making progress, but look, you know what? I don't want to add any stress to you while you're recovering. What does the public need to know about, that recovery process, and what would you like our audience to know? Our guests have arrived also, but what would you like for our audience to know?
Yes, it's not that stress for the jail. I mean, it's important to our people that we have in jail. People understand what the jail does. A jail, of course, it incarcerates, the ones that need to be incarcerated before court and after court and that kind of thing. But the logistic nightmare that we're actually going through, we have inmates from the Tennessee line down to Mobile. And we have, say 5 inmates that are being court at 9 o'clock. And they're down in Mobile. We're leaving at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to get them to court. Now, that's just to get them here. Then we got to take them back. So they may be in court 2 or 3 days. So, I mean, then you have this logistics trying to house them. So it's costing the county right now. Insurance takes care of it. But we've got to get some brick and mortar for us. It's not fair to the people of Dallas County that pay the taxes and stuff. Like I said, it's not no federal point or anything like that. But a jail could have been built with the several sheriffs that have started jails after the storm, after ours. It's already completed and had inmates in it. I have a roof and a little bit of time I slept in a while. I have very little at that jail. And it's uncalled for. I mean, something's got to be done to that jail. And a lot of sheriffs have a brand legal action up. I hope it don't come to that. But, I mean, a lot of sheriffs are having to do that right now. Todd County.
Tonga, Wilcox County. Wilcox had a real serious problem. So I've been watching that too. Yes, sir.
It's just kind of like, and it's what people actually say. I mean, I started off in corrections, with the Department of Corrections, actual state. And once people are locked up, they're forgotten about. They're not treated as humans all the time. And it's the least of society, and it's the last of the button burner. I mean, it's the last spoke on the wheel that gets old. And it's just, I mean, they don't care if it's dilapidated, they don't care if they got 3 toilets. I'm not saying all people are like that, but that's just jails in general. So we've got to do better. I mean, we've got to get that jail up and running. If not, I mean, so we run out of insurance money. And the thing that scares me now, you hear me say I was traveling back and forth. Yeah, we're being reimbursed by insurance. But what people understand, that's taking away brick and mortar money from actual construction costs of the actual jail itself. So where's the money going to come from to finish doing the jail? I mean, that's something the commission might come up with. A lot of people understand this either. The sheriff don't own that jail. The Dallas County Commission on that bill. I have no say so. I have to even get approval to move a weather faucet. I can't even put a weather faucet in there without getting approval from the commission. But yeah, whenever we build that, I've always taken a hit. Being their election, that's one of the biggest things. Sheriff your jails, this, your jails, that. I always took it. I don't want to point fingers at nobody because we're a team, and that's the way a team's supposed to work. So, but now it's coming down to the nitty-gritty. Somebody's got to take responsibility. Somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to get this jail bill.
Well, thank you so much, Sheriff. For anything I can do to help, you know I'm there. Just let me know. And I'm so glad to hear that you're in recovery, and we want you to continue to recover. And just keep us posted on how things are going with you.
I will. Thank you. Thank you for what you did, brother.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay. All right. That's Sheriff Mike Grantham. You heard him. I know there's been all kinds of rumors all over the place. Well, he just put all those rumors to rest. He's alive and well and kicking in the office. Not supposed to be in the office. His doctor told him not to work, but he had to stick his head in. I'm not surprised, but his conditioning is why he survived all of that. He's even with that conditioning, though. That's what really, that scares me sometimes. And in fact, last year I remember I covered an event that the UAB was doing with the clergy out of Birmingham. All the clergy out of Birmingham, they were doing and it was at the Y, in fact, and they were doing a health workshop with the ministers in terms of being able to get information to the community. One of the ministers who ran every morning, 5 miles a day, had a massive heart attack. I said, well, how do you have a massive heart attack if you're in tip-top shape? But it was the history, maybe his genetics, his family history. Sometimes that overrides everything. But by being fit, I don't think weight is not the issue as much as fitness. You got to keep moving and doing something. And if you can stay fit, then you can survive a lot of the things that happen to us physically. Now, we have been joined by two more of my favorite folks. I hadn't seen one of these gentlemen in a while, Mr. Ronald Peoples, and we got Judge Collins Pettaway III. Now, this is ASU and A&M. You got the best of both worlds with us this morning, gentlemen. I don't know who's going to speak first. You want to
Alabama A&M alphabetically.
Okay, well, we'll do it alphabetically. Yeah, that sounds good.
We are here representing the Magic City Classic Week. The week started Monday with a lot of activities. A lot of people are already up in the area and getting ready, doing things. A lot of activities, major activities started yesterday. And so, but we are here still trying to fellowship and have some good camaraderie,
right?
Some friendly camaraderie.
Yeah.
And of course, A&M does lead the series.
Well, but last year, didn't ASU win last year?
They won. They pulled it out from us. So
and usually, whoever wins or loses costs the other school a coach.
Oftentimes.
So we'll have to see what is happening. I don't know what A&M's record is this year, but before we move on to that, now a lot of people may not know, Judge, that you were an athletic a shining athlete with Alabama A&M. What position were you in?
I was a running back and also I was a kickoff return punt specialist.
Wow! How do you go from a punt specialist to a judge and a lawyer, and not just an ordinary lawyer, folks? I can tell you that we have in the studio with us one of the brightest attorneys I've ever known. You know what I mean?
You go to school and study. You have to have a great appreciation for reading.
Oh Lord, that's the only. I hate to say, I'm glad I'm not a lawyer because you still have to do a lot of reading as a judge. Huh?
Yeah, I got to go read now. When I leave here, get ready because I have a trial at 1 o'clock.
Oh gosh,
County.
Man,
so I got to get back to Hill County. Been in Hill County all week, so I got to get back there.
One other thing about A&M, I remember, I think it was last year during that Thanksgiving dinner giveaway you guys were doing at the Elks, and I believe A&M was in the Macy's Christmas parade.
Oh, the band,
right? And so, but now
That
what was that the year before
the
last?
year before, I think.
Right.
I think year before. I may be wrong.
But
It might be a year before.
But there's some history you were telling me about with A&M's band. What was it that you were saying?
Oh, Alabama A&M's band is the first HBCU to have a band.
Wow.
Yeah, they were the first HBCU to have a band.
That's really something. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
And look at them now. But to look at ASU, you wouldn't know. ANU acts like they've been there all along, huh?
Well, Alabama State has done well with their band and whatnot, and they produce some fine people also.
Yeah, okay.
We just produce fine.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ronald Peoples.
Ronald Peoples with Alabama State University alumni. This is a mighty good time to be a member of Alabama State ASU alumni. And I want you to remember that recruitment is a continuous matter with ASU alumni. Don't want you to forget that. We try and work with the community. However, I'm not here for recruitment today.
Right.
I'm here with my friend today. And I tell my wife, who's a graduate of Alabama A&M.
Oh my goodness. That's
long,
almost as bad as Auburn and Alabama and University of Alabama in the same house.
If they are not playing each other,
right?
I support Alabama A&M.
Right.
Whenever we go to a game, if I sit on the Alabama A&M side, I support. But if they play Alabama State University, even if I have to sit on Alabama A&M side, my support is not there.
Well, we don't want you.
But certainly we are having an event. Alabama A&M and Alabama State co-hosting an event out at the Elks Club tonight. Elks Lodge tonight.
They get upset about it.
They don't want to be called club.
And it's from 6 to 9. We will have refreshments. We're asking for a $5 donation. Should have been a $20 donation with the refreshments that we expect to have. However, we just want to have that camaraderie that Judge Petway talked about. Alabama A&M, Alabama State. We both have the same goal in mind, and that is to educate people to the best of our ability and to the best of their ability. And so certainly I am pro HBCUs, a graduate from Selma University, a graduate from Miles Law School, a graduate from Alabama State twice. So that tells you that I know something about HBCUs and I'm very fond of them. Not that I'm not fond of other schools.
Right.
It's just that it's like having a favorite color. Doesn't mean that you dislike the other colors.
Right. It's just not your favorite.
It's just not my favorite. And so that's the way I am about ASU.
Well, and on ASU, before we leave that point, I'm not unmindful of the fact that it was started by ex-slaves.
That's correct.
From
1867.
1867 from Lincoln High School in Perry County in Marion. See, people, we think Kawanza and the Seven Principles and all that stuff that Ron Karenga developed in 1960 is new. 100 years before Ron Karenga, Lincoln Academy in Marion, Alabama was practicing self-sufficiency, and teaching their students not just the academic side of life, but the agricultural side as well. They say when they left, they knew how to plant a garden and how to eat on their own, and they had a skill set, and they were independent. And some of us still have not embraced, in my opinion, enough of being self-sufficient and independent of the society that we're in.
Let me add something, that the proceeds from the event tonight goes toward supporting each alumni's scholarship efforts. We provide scholarships to different students to go to school. And so if someone wants to come and support that, we welcome that. As people are saying, it's a $5 admission, but that's to go toward the scholarship fund.
It's a drop in the bucket.
It is. You know, it should have been way more than that. However, if someone wants to come by and just drop off a donation,
right,
we will receive that.
Right.
You know, we're not set up to electronically or have anything mailed in, so we had to bring it out there.
Right.
But if you come out to the Elks Lodge tonight between 6 and 9 and drop something off, we will gladly receive any donation because they do go and support students.
Right.
And one thing I do want to say is that as far as our school goes, Alabama A&M, now we kind of slacked off in the past 2 years, but in years past we did a great job recruiting from this area. And actually, you know, our school has had record enrollment the past several years. And we have a lot of people
from this area,
And I say this area like Dallas County, Lowndes,
the Black Belt,
Marengo, Hale, Perry. You know, we get a lot of students, and we go after them.
Right.
And we try to show them what we do and try to inspire them to move forward.
Well, one of the things that impressed me when the dedication for the building, the name of the annex with Bruce Boynton and Attorney J.L. Chestnut, what I didn't know, one of the judges out of Jefferson County said that there are 126 African-American judges in Jefferson County or in that area alone. That's significant. You know, that's not 1965, huh?
That's true. Well, it probably was at that time. Now, believe it or not, there is a concerted effort with our powers that be in our judiciary that want to cut down the number of African-American judges in that Jefferson County area. I have spoken out about it, and I don't mind speaking out about it. And
right.
I tell them that's not right. But basically, you know, they come up with this system to say, instead of funding new judges, they want to go ahead and take away judges from where they may not be needed and put them someplace else. That sounds good on paper, but the way it's being done, I think, is very suspect. But so I don't know what the numbers are now. Right. But now just across the state, I forgot how many there are in African American judges, but now you talking about that area, you talking about the Jefferson County plus the
counties that adjoin.
Right. You're right. At that time, when that person told you that, that's probably how many there were. But there are several of the people that the citizens are elected to those positions, and because of that, there have been efforts to try to cut it down, and they moved a lot of judgeships to other places.
But at least you've got some buy-in.
Now look, we need some more judges here. Because see, the weight load that I have
it's too much,
is ridiculous. You know, if you come to my court, I'm getting out of court at 8:30, 9 o'clock here in Dallas County.
At night?
At night.
No.
Yeah, and so, but and we're not wasting time. We're moving. You know, matter of fact, I try to move my court very expeditiously.
Right.
But shucks, it's just so much.
Right.
You know, and I know we're here to talk about a festival occasion, but
right.
I try to get people to put this in their head. I don't care, like when it comes to crime, it's bad everywhere now, and it's going to continue to get bad until we fix our families.
Right.
I'm telling you, I've seen it from the first time I got on the bench until now. People say, put folk in jail. Well, we put them in jail, but stuff got worse. And so,
well, you can speak.
You have a lot of younger people come up to replace those folks.
You can speak.
Well, I've seen it.
And yesterday is a prime example when your daughter, spoke at Mayor Perkins' ceremony, and as articulate as she was, and she's doing well, and your son, and with your namesake, the third, they're not in jail.
But look, I appreciate him he's doing so well that when we first got here, I noticed you called me Collins Federal. I don't know if you noticed that. But look, I appreciate that.
Right.
Because, see, you do want your children to exceed you. A lot of people don't realize that. You need to uplift your children so they can exceed your goals.
But you've been intentional. You and your wife, you guys have been intentional about raising
Well, that's
your
true.
children.
That's what family has to do. See, until we get our families working right, we're gonna have problem after problem after problem. And I don't want to have to send people to prison, but I have to.
Right.
If you don't do right,
Right.
People come to my court. I try to help them, and I've helped a lot of folks. But I've also sent some folk off now.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
No, I got you.
I've given folk 30 to 60 years. I gave one guy 9 life sentences because he did something real bad.
Richard Pryor in one of his stand-up shows, he said, well, when he was doing Stir Crazy with Gene Wilder, he said he met some people in prison. He said they needed to be there. He said, "Thank God for prison."
But we can joke about it because you got 9 life sentences. If you live around and die and get reincarnated,
you going back to jail.
You can joke about it.
Yeah, but
that case over with, I can talk about it.
Yeah, that's wild. Wow.
But I don't want to have to do all that. But anyway, getting back to this occasion,
this is a big deal. What do y'all do? What happens at the pep rally?
The pep rally, certainly we try to have a spirit-filled and spirit-filled event.
You got cheerleaders?
Well,
we have
cheerleaders that used to be cheerleaders.
I was gonna say you don't have Mamie Solomon is not out there on
Mamie
in the past.
Out there.
I bet she is.
We do, and I think Mamie's daughter now is an
alumni.
Right. And so but certainly we just try and have fun.
Right.
We come out and we try to interact with each other. We try to let the community know that, hey, we're here. And I keep pushing alumni. We need help. Our institutions need help.
Right.
There was a time, and there are many younger people that don't understand that before you could even consider being a judge,
right,
you had to get into a college.
Right.
And there were some colleges that just wouldn't let you in.
Wow.
And Alabama State and Alabama A&M was not one of those colleges.
Right.
And you was able to get there. And then you was able to go further to try and achieve your goal.
And get your credentials.
And get the credentials that you need to better serve your community.
Right.
Or to serve your community in a different area. And I just think it's important for us to remember that. Don't forget from whence we came. And I'm not saying that exclusively that this is the best for everybody, because it's not.
Right.
The same shoe or the same thing does not fit everybody.
Well, you got to have brick masons and electricians and plumbers and so many other.
You got to have it all in order for us to survive or live a comfortable life. Now, Alabama State University, for the last 20 plus years that I've served as president, we have offered a scholarship to each high school in Dallas County, each public high school. Recently, we started offering a scholarship to Elmwood, and maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Now, it's just a $600 scholarship, stipend, whatever you call it.
Yeah, but that'll buy books.
Come on, man, $600, and you multiply that times 4, along with the other help that we try to give throughout the year. And we're just asking the community to be a part of helping the community. I'm not talking about students that are not from Dallas County. We're talking about students who live here in Dallas County that we would love to come back and be productive citizens. Students that will not have to go to the courtroom and sit and wait until their case number is called. And those students usually will leave our high schools, will go to our colleges, and many times when they leave our high schools here, they still need nurturing. And there are some schools that just don't have that time. You're just another number.
So you can provide support, is what you're saying?
Can provide support and get them hooked up at the school,
right,
with people
with the right people,
help them,
right,
further their education. So we certainly want you to come out, and I know that that Judge Petway said that you all need to bring it. But I promise you, if you live in Dallas County and you call me,
right,
and you want to make a donation,
right,
to Alabama A&M or Alabama
State, come get it.
I'll come get it. I promise you, I'll come get it.
Now don't call with a $5 donation. You're gonna spend $5 in gas just to go and pick up the money. Yeah, well.
Yeah, I really want to thank Mr. Peoples' effort and his kindness. And of course, he is right. If you want us to come pick up something, we will come get it. But it's better to just bring it. It's easier. We can keep a better record and account for it for you. But be that as it may, and of course, all of us, all these donations can be tax deductible.
Right.
Because they go to a good cause.
Well, I know there are people who are listening right now who have who are financially able to, and who have a history of donating to these kinds of initiatives, and so certainly we want to encourage people to make the donations and go out tonight and have some fun. Now, it sounds like you're gonna have a good time.
Oh yes,
it's
usually a very wonderful time. We've done different things in years past, and so we're going to get back at. We kind of took a little hiatus for a minute, but we're going to start getting back at it.
Well, the coronavirus probably slowed things down a whole lot, huh?
It stopped it.
Right. Yeah. I would think so.
As a matter of fact, we've been discussing maybe some other things, maybe like on the weekend before, and we're going to get with our counterparts and talk to them about it and have something more expansive
that you might do.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. Because we need to celebrate it and give it the due that it deserves.
Well, plus you also talk when you talk about the scholarship fund and supporting Dallas County students, the more money you have, the more support you can give them financially.
Correct. Because the cost of education has
gone up. Everything is going up.
$600, $500. The different ones must offer. Nowadays, might be enough to get one book.
Yeah, I tell you, that's what I hear.
It used to be book money.
Yeah, but now you can only get one book.
It's one book money instead of book money.
Yeah,
it's one book money.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but if you didn't have it, but you need that book maybe to graduate.
You need that book.
So hey, anything else? Go ahead.
And I'd like to say that remember that the classic this weekend, 2:30. This is the largest classic in the nation.
Wow.
Everywhere that I've heard it advertised, it has said, I'm going to restate, it is the largest classic in the nation.
Wow.
And so to have grown to that point, it says a lot about the institutions. And I'm sure that you are proud of Alabama State and Alabama A&M. I know that I'm proud of Alabama State and Alabama A&M. And I have to tag, my wife may be listening, but, just in case somebody will tell her, we've been married, will be 53 years in June.
Wow.
And for Alabama,
you don't look like it, man. Both of y'all must be good for each other. People be beat down like the Johnsons. I saw them yesterday. They look good. That means you're not beating each other down.
That's Alabama State and Alabama A&M for almost 53 years of marriage. So I'm saying that it'll work and it helps. And we're asking that you come out tonight and you come from 6 until 9. We will have a DJ there. We will have food there. We're just gonna have a good time, and we just want you to come and have a good time with us and support us, not only in this endeavor, but we do other things in the community as well.
And you have a banquet coming up sometime this year, huh?
Well, we are not doing the banquet. The COVID stopped our banquet.
That COVID,
we have not started it back. Whenever you stop something,
it's hard to get it going.
It's hard to start back.
Yes,
if you can keep it going, even if it's just put.
Right.
It's easier to start back up than it is to start over again. And so that's kind of where we are with the banquet. But last year we had I guess we call it a luncheon, where during that day we had a banquet, breakfast, brunch kind of.
So you had a day of activities?
Yes, we did. And that came out very, very well. And certainly I thank those that support us, those that are members and those that are not members that support us. And when I say us, I mean both institutions and our community. And don't forget, we don't just do scholarships. The Cancer Walk was just the other day. We registered there. Every year we do Salvation Army. you know, at some of the, as a vendor, well, not a vendor, but at some of the stores, Walmart or Winn-Dixie in the past, all this year. But I mean, we continuously give back to the community, and we're just asking that you all would help us help our community. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Judge, anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, Mr. Peoples eloquently explained and expounded on it, but that is right. We try to do what we can to help give back. Whatever is given is always given back in all kinds of ways, and we do that. And of course, we had to also thank Mr. Peoples for his contribution to Selma. He and his wife, Winona, have been great pillars in the local area, and they've raised some wonderful family children and moved on, who've done some great heights. And so we had to keep that in mind. See, when you do stuff like that, I'm getting back on my soapbox again. But when you go ahead and get the family working, the community uplifts. You know, once the community starts rising, everybody rises together.
That make your job a whole lot easier, wouldn't it? You know,
everybody rises together.
You wouldn't have to be in the court at 9 o'clock at night.
I'm trying to tell you,
somebody's in court. You know, we talking about we ain't doing this and we ain't doing that, and the system is failing. No, like you said, raise your children.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, the system is designed to work a certain way, and the system does what it does, but in order for it to work properly, we have to be a part of it. See, like even when we have trials, like with juries, people need to show up to participate. We have to participate. You know, this belongs to us. You know, I was listening to, you know, when the sheriff was telling me about how the jail that he operates, it belongs to the citizens. Right. It comes from our tax dollars. And of course, you know, they are having some issues outside of their control right now. And of course, I do everything I can to help them, because normally, like we have court, usually everybody, they have to bring all those inmates. I don't have them bring everybody. I say, well, if we're not going to do anything on that case, I'm not going to just have folks
just to be sitting in the courtroom.
You're not going to get a vacation.
Not on your dime, huh?
You're not going to get a vacation, but if you have some business to handle, I'm going to have you there.
Right.
And so we don't always try to work together. And so you have to try to work with folks. And in our community, each family needs to work together. And in working with families, learn how to work with other folk. See, when we got to the point, we don't want nobody saying nothing to our children, and our children get all out of hand, because your children not with you all the time. And of course, I'm gonna tell you something. I know I'm still on my soapbox. I asked my legislators, our senator and representative, I want them to sponsor a parental responsibility bill and get it passed, so it'll be legal and constitutional. Well, we can start holding these parents accountable. I can put some of them in jail for the actions of some of these.
Wow.
And of course, when y'all hear about it, know where it came from.
Right.
And I've talked to other legislators across the state, and I've been getting and other people in other associations trying to get all the support together so this thing could pass. And of course, anyway.
Well, something that puzzles me though is, you know, and I think about this a lot. I'm wondering who's in jail because of all the violent offenders that have violent histories, who some of these judges and prosecutors are letting back out on the street.
Well, I take offense to that, but keep
talking. I said some. I'm not saying all.
Keep talking.
Well,
no. But they don't just let them on the street. They have to follow the particular rules. And see, we just can't go around being so reactionary and getting on folk and punishing people just because something happened. Now, if once they're convicted, we're gonna deal with them.
Right. Well, what about these guys that I've been hearing about, like the guy in Colorado that ran over the people in the parade, had been convicted 11 times, you know, and then released on bail. And I thought bail was a threat. If you don't get bail, if you're a threat to the community,
that's a consideration,
or a flight risk.
That's a consideration, and bail can be denied or up very high, where it's hard to make.
And this guy in Montgomery, you know, and you know everybody's complaining about that. The police are complaining, even the governor.
Well, you know the whole situation.
I don't know. That's the problem. See,
let's see what the whole situation
he may be a first-time offender.
Exactly.
I don't know. You know what I mean? That's different.
Because we got that law now.
A Nyes law.
Right. That's the acronym they use for a Nyes law. That's that handle is given. And of course, every judge has to go through that, and not only go through that, you have to write like a little detailed order on the reasons. And so if the young man was able to be given a bond, then
his lawyer may have provided a good
it wasn't
reason.
just a lawyer, but it was because his background supported it. And so it's just
there's a lot of different factors, is what you're saying.
Don't get me wrong. I know everybody's probably mad and upset, but see, the way the system is designed, when we say we'd rather let 10 guilty go free than punish one innocent, that maxim has to happen. Think about it. Anyway.
And well, now what you did though, but you the good thing though was you did a thing where, and I was glad to see that people, because a lot of times we don't take advantage of it, but you offered amnesty for people that had owed for traffic tickets.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, those are non-violent offenders. That's my point.
Correct,
you know what I mean? They don't have no business in jail and failure to appear. You know,
warrant clinics. You know, yes. See, we try and get people to not be afraid to go to their courthouse. Now, don't get me wrong. You just can't go in there and just take over and be unruly. Now,
right?
I'm gonna put you in jail. but you know, we want you to understand. You know, you have a stake in this because your tax dollars help support all of this. So,
well, you know, at one point, and I think it has stopped, but at one point, because people knew I was a photographer, they would come to me to get a photo ID because they were afraid to go to the courthouse or city hall because they thought they may have a warrant out.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You know, because they didn't pay a ticket or something crazy.
If you just go and handle your business, I don't know why people, I got a call yesterday from some family members calling my office. A young man was picked up down in Orlando, Florida for a failure to appeal warrant that I issued. And wanted to say, he didn't know. And wait. I said, hold on now. Y'all need to understand this. And I had to get on my soapbox and fuss a bit. I said, now, every judge tell those folks, when you leave court, it's your responsibility if you move to let us know where you are so we know how to contact you.
Right.
And when you don't do that, this is what happens.
Right.
And I said, and I told him, I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and do a warrant and let him out, but I'm going to take my time doing it. I want him to understand.
That's what he just did. He took his time. He still hadn't let you know him back. Yeah.
So, you treat me that way, I'm going to treat you that way.
But we need to understand the consequences behind that kind of thinking.
I apologize, Ron. I am a public servant, and of course, I don't just, although I got my A&M hat on, I still got my robe on, whether I got it on or not, it's still on me. So I still had to talk about.
But your time, I mean, we can't, and you're good about your time, but shoot, if you have to stay in court until 9 o'clock at night, you deserve some personal time, don't you? Or do you have any?
Well, yeah, we take personal time.
Well, that's good. Golly. Anything else, Mr. Peoples?
The only thing that I'd like to say is that I echo the sentiments of Judge Petway. I do believe that parenting is the first place that a child will begin. And if you miss it at home, people have a tendency, and I've worked many years in different positions in different places, and school, particularly in education. A lot of people like to say it's the church fault. It's the school's fault. It's
everybody else's fault.
Everybody's fault except where the child began.
Right.
Now, and I understand that every home is not the proper home. Right. I understand that.
Yeah.
But if it does not happen at home,
right,
it is going to be extremely difficult for it to occur along the journey. However, there are people that make it, but it is best to start at home.
Well, I learned that, and you guys both are prime examples. We need to lift people up like you guys, because in order for you to have graduated high school and in the various universities and to become an attorney and now a judge and an educator, that means you had to be disciplined enough. And I would imagine that it had to have all started with study habits, and those study habits translating into work habits and work ethic. And how do we get that message to the community? For people who, like you say, if their family situation is not ideal, then we've got to find a way to help get those guys focused. The report last week said that there are approximately 2,500 students off the radar screen, 5,000 who are not in public school, but half of them are at least being homeschooled or in private school. The superintendent of education said 2,500 people, students, they don't even know where they are, but they're not going to school.
Yeah, that is a problem that needs to be addressed, because I know back when I was in elementary school, we had several students who might not have been in school when school first started in August, but by October 1st, they were in school. And the reason they were not in school, they had to help their parents get the cotton eggs.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I'm one of them.
I met some of those guys. Tuskegee was the town of Macon County had a lot of those guys still in the 70s that were putting cotton out instead of going to school. Sure was.
I graduated in 1969, but prior to 69, 67, 68, and 69, I worked on the farm with my grandfather. My grandfather and my grandmother raised my brother and I. And my grandmother was not graduated, but finished the 3rd grade. My grandfather, when he was 7 years of age, his father took him out of school so he could help his brothers and his father and mother on the farm.
Wow.
And those were the people that thought that education was so important to my brother and I.
Wow.
Until they decided that, hey, you need to work, you need to do right, you need to go to school, you need to go to church. And they didn't play about those things. And I do think now, we talk about the home, we talk about the kids, but parents bear a lot of the responsibilities. Parents are not the kind of parents that we had in the 60s.
If I wasn't trained, if I had a bad parent and I continue those, I don't even know what parenting is about. What happens then? You know what I mean?
My grandmother, they would just look at you, and you would know that when they look at you,
you better take your business, huh?
You better take heed. But, I mean, and if you didn't take heed,
right,
that's okay.
That's all right, because you're gonna get the consequences, huh?
I promise you, the next time that they looked at you,
you
would understand.
Yeah.
And I think that we lost that. And when I say we as parents, like I worked so hard, so long, and we were being paid $2 a day.
My gosh.
$2
yeah, that's
a
hard
day
to make money with that, I would
work.
think. That's
So when my son and daughter came along, I didn't want them to do what I had done.
Right.
So they ended up with cars, toys, and things that football games, things that we
never had.
Never had.
But did you help them?
We didn't even have a football team at the school.
But did you help them, or did you try and instill some sort of discipline in them?
Oh yes. I mean, you have to instill some kind. Don't they take the house over and run you out? But it took extra efforts. Like keeping them in activities that will keep them occupied, going from place to place to support them in those activities, along with the money and all of the other things that you have to do in raising children and supporting them. And I just think that many times we get caught up in working and trying to earn money, or we're just absent. Even though we are present, we are absent, be it for whatever reason. Everybody's not out there working, trying to earn money. Some people are just out there, but the child needs guidance. He needs help.
Right.
He or she needs your presence. That was one of the reasons I got out of the Navy, because I knew that my family needed me here. And it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life.
Wow.
Thank you, Randy, for allowing us to come. You have been very supportive of ASU and A&M throughout the years. I know that. I don't have a plaque to give you.
Oh, no, but and I don't do it for that.
Like that.
I thank you for what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Okay.
Ditto. Thank you also.
Yeah. We're going to take this break and start closing out, because we're just about out of time. But I can't tell you guys and this audience, how much I appreciate the two gentlemen who are in the studio this morning. These are examples. So I need you, when y'all start when we start arguing on the radio, these are the kind of guys I'm talking about. We need to be modeling our young people about. And yeah, I'm going to Judge. I'm hard on some of these black elected officials now who are making these soft policies.
At it from their eyes, because it's one thing to complain and protest. It's another thing to govern.
So I'll say we've learned how to get elected, but many of us haven't learned how to govern. That's part of the problem.
Well, many of them are governed. There's just a whole lot of impediments that were put in their way, and plus, you have to remember, they did not have the relationships coming in.
They weren't groomed.
Exactly.
We weren't groomed for power, right?
All of us had to work together on it.
Right. Well, that's a program all into itself that I hope we can do one day.
Remember, I work in 5 different counties. I got to work with 5 other district judges, 2 other circuit judges, 5 clerks, so 5 different circuit clerks, 5 different sheriffs. Each sheriff I work with, each county commissioner I have to work with, each probate judge I have to work with, and all of them are elected officials too.
Wow.
So we all have to respect each other and work together. And we all have to understand, hey, look, all of us are, some of us are novices. Some of us may have had a little experience. Let's all work it together.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll be back and closing out right after this. All right. This ought to be what I will call a classic program because it's on YouTube and it'll be there. Again, what you guys just gave, I think, is really vital information.
Well, I just think, and my wife and I, we chose a long time ago to live in this community.
Right.
We had other options like many other people.
Right.
But we chose to stay here
and give back.
And even in the city of Selma.
Right.
We chose to live in the city of Selma.
Right.
We had options to live
other places.
That's correct.
I got you.
And so I am still optimistic that Selma will survive and that not only survive, but it will do
thrive. I think we're going to thrive too.
I agree with that. Yep. And but I do think it takes time. I think that it takes people getting together, understanding that, hey man, you don't know it all. You can't do it all.
Right.
Let's sit down. Let's talk about it.
Right.
I mean, there is some commonality somewhere there.
Right.
If we could just sit and talk.
That's the key, huh?
And I do think that if discussion occurs,
right,
then you can reach common ground.
Right.
But when you don't hear me, I don't mean just meet with me.
Right.
I mean hear me.
Right.
Because I don't come from, like I just said to you,
I didn't know that.
I came from the field.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't come from where you came from.
Wow.
We still did outdoor bathrooms. We did almost 2 hours to get to school in the morning. Wow. 2 hours to get back in the afternoon.
Wow.
We got the buses that Dallas County them had worn out.
Wow.
We didn't get new buses.
Right.
And
books, huh?
No books. No, we got the old
You got the hand-me-downs.
And to be honest with you, in many instances,
right,
we got the teachers that they didn't want at Dallas County and those other schools.
Right. Wow.
Okay. And I mean that's just the truth.
Right.
And they would have to come way back down to Hayes and Harrell. That's
but it turned out just the opposite of what the intent was, huh?
That's correct.
Right. You had to work hard. I remember when I was at Brandon, basketball, we had outside court.
Absolutely.
Hayes and Harrell had a dirt court.
Absolutely.
We played basketball, competitive basketball on the dirt. When we had to go to Hayes and Harrell, and Mr. Harrell was Mr. Watts.
Mr. Watts was the coach.
Mr. Watts was the coach. And Mr. Guller was our coach, but Mr. Watts was very stern with the fellow.
Oh yeah. We used to be dribbling the ball, and you get ready to make a move, and the Rock take the ball in a different direction.
What? You didn't have a flat floor, huh? The Rock would do it.
Yeah.
You couldn't dribble, huh?
Oh yeah. We played on gravel, man.
Now before Tipton had a gym.
They had a gym.
Now before Tipton, we go to tip, they wear us out. They beat about 20, 30.
Because they knew the gym.
Yeah. And plus, you know, the heat would kill us. But when they come to play us, they be scared to die for the ball and all that. They be playing gym. They want to get their knees right. And we beat them by 20, 30.
Now that is funny. I did not know that. Wow.
And we have a football team in the 70s. We actually went to the school board when I was at Brandon and lobbied to get a football team at our school. And so in the 8th grade, they started, I think, Mr. Woody.
Mr. Woody. Golly.
We got the first football teams at Shiloh, Brandon, let me see, and they put one at Southside Primary.
They probably had one.
No, not Southside Primary. Southside.
I left in '69, so it wasn't there when I left.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They integrated then.
Right.
They integrated.
So R.B. Hudson and Tipton were the only black schools that really had any
right. R.B. Hudson and Tipton
gymnasium
in Dallas County.
Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
And kids would leave Hudson, go to Tipton, leave Tipton, and
Go
come
to
up.
Hudson.
Yeah, I mean.
Those are the best choices, huh?
You didn't know where they were going to school. They played ball over at Hudson, play ball over at Tipton.
Right. You see some of the same folk, huh?
That's right. You see some of the same folk. I mean,
Wow.
it was just difficult
Wow.
and different during that time.
Wow.
But, people were much more respectful than they are now.
Right.
And it did not appear as though they were nearly as dangerous. I mean, the only thing, and this is in 1969, I would have been 18 years old. And in 18 years, I never knew of anybody shooting. I'm talking about student, young adult, shooting anybody in 18. We had knives, and you could
razors.
Right, yeah. The switchblade when somebody may cut somebody, or they may have been in the club, got to fighting or something, but never.
No mass shootings, huh?
Mass shooting, no shooting at all.
Right.
And the only guns that I really saw in the neighborhood that I was in was shotguns and rifles that people used for hunting.
Right.
And I'm sure they had a pistol, but didn't no student man bring no pistol talking about the school that
because they knew if folks found out you had a real problem, huh? Wow.
But the society just changed so different.
Wow, that is really something.
It makes it very difficult to parent too in these times. Parenting is different than and government has said now. Like I say, one of the reasons that we respected our grandparents so much was that somebody made a song some time ago that there's a thin line.
Between love and hate.
Yeah, that's it. And well, I want you to know that there's a thin line between respect and being scared.
Right.
Okay. Because our parents would get a switch or cord or stick,
whatever they could find.
And then laws came and said, well, hey,
you can't do that.
That's
when it started breaking down.
That child.
Yep.
You can't hit that child.
And in school.
Yeah.
Because I remember Miss Slater at Tipton. She used to use a fan belt.
Right.
From the car.
Right.
And she put your hand out. And if you didn't, if you kept doing that, she grabbed you by the ear.
Right.
That's it. And pinch you. I was acting right. That's for sure. After that, we don't do that no more.
We tie them out now.
Yeah.
You
That's
put them in the corner.
The Bible
and you better
says,
put them out.
The Bible says that beat the child with a rod, he won't die. That's what the Bible says.
That's scripture. Yeah.
But that's not what
Dr. Spock says. No, you don't discipline your children.
I disagree.
You talk to them.
I had a case in Bibb County, and this expert was trying to testify about the father was trying to spank his child, and the mama didn't want him to do that. But the father was concerned because the girl could want to go out at night and do this and do that. She was hot, and so, and I was like, hold on. You mean to tell me that we can't follow what the Bible say? I was telling the expert, I said, hold on, wait a minute now. And I pulled out the scripture. I said, Proverbs such and such say, this is what it does. We can't do that? And I said, well, if y'all bring it to, if it's a case assigned to me, I'm going to dismiss it.
Wow. Wow.
And, you
Yeah, I like
know,
that to tell them.
I know that's right.
but
yeah.
you know that there
Yeah.
are many people that don't
Yeah.
believe in the Bible.
Well,
and,
that's the problem too. Because
Yeah,
there's no
right.
spiritual. They've
Right.
lost the spiritual touch. You know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. You got some atheists out there too.
And then,
You know.
and then we have people like our president that write his own Bible.
Oh,
You know, so now you know, and so I mean, you have so many different versions.
Follow that mess, man.
You know.
Well, we're in a different age, as you
Well,
said.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
but now don't get me wrong. We all need to have our free will to do what, but at some point, have some sense to it.
Well, common sense is certainly
Yeah,
something
common
that's fleeting.
Mhm.
We need to try and get back to that. I don't know if we will or not.
Right, and you know, but now you have to define what is common sense.
Well, that's
You know.
that's a lot of gray area.
You
But
know,
no,
common sense.
No,
that was
it's just like you just said, parenting. It's
Right,
simple as that
right.
in the home. You know, simple as that. I don't think you can go any further, any way from that.
Yeah, I think that if you learn to respect people
Oh yeah.
and just